By popular demand, I'm going to walk you through creating a Word document template for MLA formatting. This is the 8th edition. And then I'm also going to show you in Google Drive, so a free application, how you can convert this into a docs or a PDF file to upload to Canvas or other learning management systems. First of all, you want to start with your name. So let's say my student name is Jane Smith. And you want the professor or your TA. This is for back in the day when you handed in paper copies. If it accidentally got lost, you could turn it into the English office, and voila, they'd know the professor and the class and when you handed it in. So we could put like Prof. Bob Cratchit, and then if you wanted to add in an extra one, if you have a teaching assistant. You could do it that way. When it comes to these kinds of insertions, like a teaching assistant, it's not like a faux pas to do it. So the more information that you can kind of provide practically within like the limits of where it needs to get to, the better you can. So for this one, it'll be English 111. I'll put my section number in just because it'll be easier. And then the naming convention would be the day. So today I'm doing it on the 8th. It is March and it is 2021. So at this point, what I would want to do is I would want to double space it. So you can do that here or in design. The other thing you would want to check, one of the frustrating things about Word is that it can have presets, and you might want to check in the preferences and go. But if you look here, this is, if I hover over it, should appear line and paragraph spacing. So if you have any extra additional spaces in between your paragraphs and you just don't know how to get rid of that, you can do it here, and you go to line spacing options. And this should be 0 and this should be 0. So spacing before and after your paragraphs should be 0. And you can set this as a default just for future. You can also revert that back, right? So line spacing, and then if you had like 10 points or 6 points, I forget what the general is, you can check it, the formatting for other things. So that means then I don't have any extra formatting. I'm not pulling out my hair to try and figure out where that space is coming from. It's just not there. And so this is left justified then. Everything in the paper will be left justified except for the title and your works cited. Just the title of the works cited. So the title would be centered. It'll be a descriptive title, which gives your reader and you want to make sure and go and do all the important words for MLA formatting should be capitalized. So articles and conjunctions don't need to be. But another way to do that, if you are converting titles, you can actually highlight it and you can go here, this little AA, so change case, and you can go capitalize each word and that'll do it. And you can toggle case, but you can play around it with, but capitalize each word. And then I would just go through, because that's going to capitalize the A for me and the of, and I don't need that to be capitalized. So then I would just correct that. But it should be a descriptive title that gives your reader a sense of what you'll be discussing. So for MLA formatting, our paragraphs, there's no space in between the paragraphs. What you actually want to do is indent it. And this is just one tab space, or if I look up here, I believe it's right here. You can set that, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to get rid of that because that'll drive me nuts. And then it'll carry on. So one of the other things I have right now is I have the formatting turned on. So that's this little P here. I'll hover, it's show and hide paragraph formatting. And if I hide it, I can't see anything. But it's nice to show you in the template so you can see exactly. So there's no extra enters. It's like I literally have the double spacing turned on. You can see there's an indent here. And what I'm going to actually insert here is a page break. Because what I want to do is I want to create the works cited on another page. So if I go up here, I have a page break, and anything before that will be nice and neat and organized, and anything after that will be in part of my works cited. So the works cited is centered. No extra formatting, no colons, just works cited centered. And then I want to start my works cited left justified. So I just happen to have, you want it to be alphabetized. I just happen to have queer phenomenology on my desk. It's by Duke UP, and I believe it's 2007. And then if this happened to be that I had another line, I would not want to do extra formatting. So for years and years and years and years, I like entered. But if you really want to like use Word to the best of its like best of its ability, it's something you can do here. So here you'll notice at the end I have actually an enter, and I don't want to do that in case something happens and I need the formatting to shift without having to like keep formatting everything. Sorry, this is also part of the title. So titles of books and longer works get italicized, and shorter works that are within a container, like a book or a publication is called a container, are in quotation marks. So here you can see that it's gone over to 2 lines. I have no extra formatting. What I want to do then is I want to create this formatting. So I'll just indent it to my 1 indent line. And then everything I do after that will actually be properly formatted. So it'll actually go onto the next section or the next indent, so you don't have to do that manually. And if I change my margins, so if I went to narrow, it automatically does it for me. And then when I change back to normal, it does it for me too. So that's a nice thing to have. And just normal would be 2.54 centimeters all the way around, or 1 inch. And that's how you do that. The other thing you would want to do is put in your page numbers. And I'm going to put my page number in first because sometimes you can go wonky, then you add your name in, the spacing will be weird. But then you want to put in your last name. And it just so happens in this example to be Smith. So if you ever have trouble with this, you'll notice in the foot and header menu, there's a different first page. And so if you can't find your name and the page number on your first page, it might be because you need to uncheck that box. But that's how you should do it. So you should have your name, your last name, and the page number on every page. If you automatically format it, it'll show up and you don't have to worry about which page the works cited is on. It'll do it for you. I like to have the page break so that I can just start writing. You want your name, your professor's name, and or your teaching assistant's name. You want the class in the section and, of course, the date. You want to center the descriptive title, and your writing begins on the left justified. And that's what you can do to create a template. Like, that's really the template, and everything else is just you writing and creating paragraphs. The other thing you can do is save it as a template. So here, it automatically in Word saves as a template, and I would just call this English 111 template. It's going to get mad at me because I've done this before. So replace, and that's saved. So anytime I would go in and I would file open new from a template, I could just use my English 110 template, and it's all set up for me. And this would be easy to just use as an MLA template. You just have to replace the professor's name and the section and the date. But the date is important, so make sure to change it if you do use a template. For the Google Docs, if you're using this, if you have to load it to a learning management system like Canvas or Blackboard, it can be frustrating because you have to either do a doc or a PDF. And actually, you can do that under here. So I've set this up the exact same way with my works cited offset. I don't like working in this because you don't have quite as many options, but it's perfectly fine for, I mean, it's a simple file. So I would download this as Word or a PDF. So again, that's just File, Download, Word, or PDF. Now, a note if you're doing this, one of the nice things to have is a naming convention for your future self, but also when your professor gets these, we can see how they are. And if something's gone wrong and we have to download the file, having it properly named is so amazing and just helps us see that the student's attention to detail. So I would put my last name, the class, the assignment, and then the date. And that really helps future you find it, but also um, it shows like your attention to detail to the professor. It's one of those small things. We can see it on the learning management system. It drives us nuts. It's just like there's no student name, no dates, nothing. It's just like research paper. And if you get like 170 research papers that are all titled the exact same thing, then we have to go in and name them if something goes wrong, and that can be frustrating. So do your professor a favor and name your papers accordingly. I hope this has been a very helpful tutorial for you to be able to save your own template in Microsoft and how to download it on Chrome.